The plot and characters may be prevalently known as the vital parts in shaping a good story, but it is also important to consider a story's elements such as point of view, subject matter, themes, period, and narrative structure, among others. These easily overlooked elements define the approach and the particular quality of the story has. These elements can spell the difference between a good story and a great one. Before we start, subscribe and hit the notification button for more videos. Today, we will be talking about the different types of film genre. In time, the different kinds of approaches to making stories have become familiar and recurring. They fall into patterns that we recognize right away. Thus, stories that have well-known conventions, tropes, and other similar qualities are categorized into a group. These are what we know the genres. In film, genres mostly evolved along the advancement of technology to make movies. Back in the day, movies were simplistic, ranging from simple comedies, dramas, westerns, and among others. Nowadays, movies about the fantastical and extraordinary are at the norm, such as epic space adventures, fantasy folklore, superhero flicks, and full-length animated films using computer. The sky is not the limit. Movies go beyond what we know to be familiar. Film genres are the categorization of various forms of film based on consistent, recurring, and familiar filmic patterns, techniques, and conventions. The following are important when grouping films into a certain genre: story, plot, narrative events, structure, characters, motives, styles, themes, messages, familiar icons, and characterization. Films cannot usually be grouped exclusively into a sole genre. Most, if not all, of the films released are a combination of two or more genres and are called hybrids. An example is the romantic comedy, which now is more popularly called the rom-com for short. The horror comedy is another example that has experienced a rise in popularity recently. Other examples of hybrid type genres are the following: science fiction, action adventure, documentary comedy, or a mockumentary, and the action comedy. Here are the main types of film genre. The action adventure. This is exemplified by high energy scenes. Comedy. This has one priority: to make you laugh. Drama. This is the serious in nature and is either plot or character driven. Horror or suspense. This is designed to provoke one strong emotion response from the viewers. It is fear. Westerns. This can be identified through familiar frontier America period or the cowboy elements. Crime and gangsters. This deals with shady characters involving sinister actions. Detective or mystery. This revolves around the protagonist unraveling a particular mystery, which is the central aspect of the plot. Science fiction. This deals with futuristic science and technological concepts around which the plot revolves. Fantasy. This is often has the elements of myth, magic, wonder, and the extraordinary. Biographical. This depicts the life of a person with historical importance. Historical and epic. This is set in a particular period in time of interest to the audience. Musical. This centers on the musical dance performances as a main part of the narrative. Chick flick or guy film. The characters in this type of film are those that viewers can relate to. Sports. The story of this type moves around a sport or sports setting. Documentary. This presents and documents reality in different settings, situations, circumstances, and characters. And last, animated films. This uses animation and rendered cartoons to present the narrative. A story can be told in many ways and diverse ways. It all depends on the different approaches one might take in making and telling a story. The same can be said for filmmaking. We categorize these different approaches in numerous types of ways but we mainly group them based on recurring and familiar filmic patterns within the story. We call these groupings film genres. A film genre is defined mainly through a story, how the story is told, and through its elements. In time, film genres have evolved along with the technology to make films.